Hi, so today I'll be giving a demonstration of the Salesforce PubSub API, and I'll give a brief introduction to gRPC and what it is and why you should be interested in this new API that Salesforce has exposed. So just a brief introduction. So the PubSub API is built off of gRPC, which stands for the Google Remote Procedure Call Protocol. And essentially, it's something that Google's developed as kind of a replacement for other traditional APIs like REST or SOAP, WebSockets, things of that nature. The idea is that this will replace all of those, and the two main benefits that I think people should be interested in are that gRPC has been shown to be about 7 to 10 times faster from what I've read online than like a traditional REST API. And the reasoning for that is that the data that you're transmitting, instead of being like JSON or XML, it's converted to binary, so it's much leaner. You'll see the file sizes are much smaller than they would be if you sent them in a structured data format like JSON or XML. And so because of that, you get performance boosts, and additionally, it's just kind of cool, I think. I just started learning about this a few weeks ago. But yeah, before I start, this was built off of a few resources I found online. Philippe Oziel is a developer advocate at Salesforce, and he published this video which spurred my interest. Additionally, he has published this sample node client that's based off of Samir Miraj's implementation he did in this blog. I'll link all of these resources in the description of this video, but I just wanted to give them credit. I took their implementation and then modified it for this demo. But yeah, so basically what's going to happen here is I have a Node app here. I cloned the repository I shared before, pulled it down, and then I tweaked it for my use case. So essentially what's going to happen is, and I'll go to the bottom here actually. So we have this run function that gets called once the Node app starts. So you can see we use JSForce here. Well, you can't see that, but JSForce gets used to create a Salesforce connection. Then we connect to the PubSub API, or that gRPC server that Salesforce has behind the scenes. We can't see that, but that's kind of what fuels this whole thing. And then we basically retrieve the event schemas. So one thing I should mention is that gRPC is fueled by this what's called a proto buffer file, and this is the one that was provided in this repository. And essentially what it is and I should have mentioned this earlier, but this is one of the main benefits of using gRPC, which is that you share one proto file with every application that's going to work with that gRPC server, and that schema defines what kind of data it's expecting. So it makes it easier to maintain. You only have one definition file. You can share this with your other applications that need to interact with it, but yeah. It's language neutral, so you can use any language to send these proto files. gRPC also interacts with, I shouldn't say every language, but I think it's about 10 or 11. You can look up the list, but most, like, I don't know the right word, but primary programming languages are, have libraries that Google has built for interacting with this, like C#, C++, Java, Python, JavaScript. So yeah, this basically defines the schema and how to send the data and what it should do, and converts that data to binary and then sends it and decodes it once it reaches the server using the same proto file. But yeah, without further ado, I'll go into the implementation. So what's going to happen is I'm going to start my Node app. It's going to subscribe to the PubSub API, and then I'm going to update an account, and that change data capture event's going to get fired, and that'll come to this Node client. It'll pick it up because it's subscribed to the Salesforce event bus, and then I've set this up to send back a platform event that I defined for this. And this is my platform event. I'm not very creative, but it just has a text field for storing a message. And I also made this platform event triggered flow, and it listens for that same platform event. And then we create this custom object I define just called PubSub API message. And then in a second we'll see these over here once everything runs. So I'll open up my terminal and we'll start our Node app. So you can see we're connecting to Salesforce. We connect to the PubSub API, and then we load the schemas. First the schema for the change data capture event, and then we load the one for my platform event. Another thing I should mention is this is one cool thing. You can specify how many events you want to subscribe to before the connection's cut off or you stop listening. So in this case I specified 2. That's super easy to do. If I go to the top, you'll see there's this .env node package you can get with npm, but basically all it does is it lets you store environment variables which are in this .env file. I'm not going to open it because it has my credentials in it, but that's where all these constants are getting loaded from. So you can see I've defined the PubSub topic name, which is the change data capture event topic, and then this is the custom event, or sorry, the platform event I defined, account data received. So yeah, without further ado, we're subscribed. So now I'm going to update this account and that'll fire that event for us. So if I say the rating is warm, that'll fire, it'll save, and then it's lightning fast. So you can see, yeah, so I received an event, and this is that account that was updated, and you can see the rating was updated to warm, which is what we just updated over here. So yeah, it's still waiting for one more event, so I'm gonna just do one other update, and I'll just say, I'll just update the website to Google. So I'm updating it to Google, and before I can even go back, we can see the other event has been received. And here we go. So the website is updated now, and then in a few moments this connection will get cut off now that we've received the 2 events that we requested. If I try to send any more, you won't see anything happen, so I'll change this back to cold. And you can see the change data capture event fired, but the connection's already shut off. I think it's just taking a second to log, but we updated that rating to cold, and you can see nothing was logged here for the update. But yeah, and the second part is I told it to send a platform event back. So if we go here and I refresh this now, we'll have 2 messages. Yeah, that's I guess I used like the wrong date time system variable here for this, but regardless, yeah, we can see these change data capture events that we received, and if you're curious about the flow, it's listening for that account data received platform event, and we basically just take the message out of it. In my Node app, I just hard coded it just for this example, but if we go to our publish, where we call publish, where am I calling it? Yeah, here it is. So this is the message I defined. So you basically just specify the fields and then the values you want for them. So I said change data capture event received at new date, and then we convert it to a locale string, and then that comes back here. So that's the data we sent. And I can give a walkthrough of the code. I really didn't update much. It took a while for me to understand what was going on, but essentially, once the subscribe method gets called, once we have our schema and we're connected to Salesforce and we're connected to the gRPC PubSub API, then we can subscribe. And then this basically just listens. So once we get the data, then this callback function gets called with the data, and then there's this other file, event parser. It basically just unpackages it for us, which is super nice. And then yeah, and then we get that data, and yeah, this is really the only thing I added. Just this publish section, and in this case we have this publish topic name, which is the account data received platform event schema. And this is, yeah, this is the schema. This is the name of the channel, and this is the message I sent. But yeah, it's very, very cool, and for anyone who's interested, I definitely recommend checking it out. I think at least, well, I should say for most organizations, I think it's going to get adopted very quickly. And yeah, thank you for watching.